Hey guys, welcome back to another banging video, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Patricia, and here on my channel I just love to film like helpful and advice videos for y'all. I've grown my little YouTube family and we are already at 5,000 subscribers, and y'all are literally like my family. So I always try to put y'all on here on my channel and just like, you know, lead y'all into the right direction. So in today's video, I recently started like a little series, and it's called Avoid This or You Will Get Fired. And this is like in several parts, okay? So like this is today is going to be obviously part 1, and then there will be like a part 2, part 3, and they're going to be basically like key points and factors on what to avoid, plus like a little story time on how it actually went down in order for you not to get fired. I feel like I come from a very small store that I'm currently at, so a lot of kids work there, and just like a younger crowd mixed in with an older crowd. And so I've just seen do all type of stuff, honestly, and thinking that they could get away with it because it's a smaller store. So I'm here to push y'all on, as into like, don't do this or you're gonna get fired, okay? So before we get started, if y'all could please like, comment, and subscribe, I would truly appreciate it, because we are on a road to 10K. Let's get it. So the first thing you want to do to not get fired is obviously like, don't run the clock. So for those of you who don't understand what that means, basically when you get to work, you clock in, okay? So if you're supposed to be at work at 1 p.m., whether you get there at 12:59, 1 p.m., or 1:01 p.m., you're gonna clock in and it's gonna say, okay, great, like punch accepted, like you're in. Great. But what happens is a lot of times people take lunch breaks and they don't want to punch out for their lunch break, or they basically just want to run the clock. If you're not working, you can't be technically considered on the clock, okay? Because they're going to flag you and eventually fire you, okay? And I feel like at least the company I work for, they give you like chances. Granted, this might change, and eventually I'm sure they're not, because this should just be common sense to everybody. But if you're leaving in your car to go somewhere else, if you're no longer working or doing what your job title entails, then you need to get off the clock. If you stay on the clock, you're basically telling the company, yeah, keep paying me even though I'm not doing what you're paying me for. And I know this is annoying, and I'm not just trying to like, you know, even though I do kind of agree with them, but I can understand how some of y'all might be like, you know, I found an old friend, I started chatting, and I didn't want to like run to the clock or this and that. And I get that, and most likely they're gonna be okay with it, but you know, try to not run the risk. And basically the reason this whole like story was drawn up or like brought up is because I had a friend who, not a friend, but a coworker who worked in the grocery department, and every time on his break he would leave and go home, but he would not punch out. And there's, you know, granted, there's times where you generally do that, but you look, because you like forgot to punch out. So like at my store, I have a few old ladies, and low-key they be forgetting. And so you can call a manager or let somebody know to call the manager. And even when you get to your house, and you just let them know, hey, I was supposed to leave at 3:30, I left at 3:30, and the manager can like actually input it themselves manually. But this kid was just trying to like run the clock, and it wasn't like he was forgetting. He would never punch out on his breaks. And I guess what the final straw was, because they were monitoring him. So the way like the company I work for does it is that straight off your first offense, they're not going to probably do much, or, you know, do too much at least, but they're going to start like observing you, monitoring you, right? You're basically like on probation. And if you keep doing it though, at some point when they call you in to tell you you're fired, or that there's an issue, or that you're arrested, or that you're whatever, they have all this proof of like all the multiple times you've done it, okay? Not just that one time, because everyone's like, oh yeah, I only did it that one time. But they're not gonna hunt you down right away off of one time. So it has to be like a consecutive thing. So that's what I'm telling y'all, like, just because they haven't said anything right away doesn't mean you're getting away with it necessarily. It just means that they're probably just waiting until you keep doing it, so that when they come to you, they could really be like, get out. Anyway, so yeah, this boy, I guess the final straw for him was, I believe he went home during his break, and they kept calling him like, hey, like, come back to work, like, you're already running late, like, your break ends at 5:30, it's 5:45, like, where are you, you know? And it was a busy day because, granted, sometimes you take longer breaks and they don't care, but I guess in this situation they did. And I think they heard him low-key, like, maybe doing stuff, like, on the phone. Like, he was like, oh, I'll be right there, I'll be right there, but, like, I think there was, like, a girl in the background, and, like, I'm not sure exactly what was going on. And it doesn't matter because, you know, that is his business, and I know that's what y'all are gonna say. But what happened was that I guess the manager wanted to see exactly what time he punched out, like, how long of a break are you taking, because we need you, you're supposed to be here at 5:30, it's 5:45, and you're home. And so when the manager went to check, he peeped that there's just been so many times that this guy has not been clocking out. So obviously it became an issue, and especially considering the feel that the manager got on the phone, because basically it's kind of like, maybe if you were on the clock, but like, hey, I'm at another store picking up something to bring to this store, and you're like on the clock and you forgot, okay, maybe. But basically the manager's point is kind of like, I call you and you're over here basically banging somebody while you're on my clock. Like, and I can understand that, because even though, yeah, he's doing it at his house, but he's still on the clock. So what the manager feels is like, okay, if they weren't doing it at the house and they were doing it here, would it be any better? Like, you know, I understand just like both sides, and I'm not gonna lie, this was something that the kid was like kept doing. Obviously it's none of my business or anyone else's. That's strictly between him and the manager, because each coworker can do whatever they want, and that's going to be their business. It's going to catch up to them, and karma will handle that. You know what I'm saying? I don't wish anything bad on the coworker just because of what he did. Like, I understand it, kids, it happens, whatever. I mean, he wasn't a kid, but still. But there are coworkers who will be like, oh, so-and-so, so, like, don't be, like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that ratting out. I don't like that snitch stuff. I don't like it, you know? So it really just wasn't any coworker, because people are like, oh, how did none of the coworkers know? The coworkers knew what was going on. He was trying to run the time because he wanted, you know, it's not that he was a lazy person, but obviously I think he just wanted to like work less, make more money. Who doesn't? But it just caught up to him, and eventually they were like, yeah, you gotta go. But they gave him chances, and they spoke to him, and they told him, you know, and like obviously the fact that like they take multiple factors into consideration. So maybe if he was a great worker and got along with everyone, I don't know, maybe they would have like, okay, like we'll give you one more chance. But I believe that he was having not issues, but maybe making girls feel a little bit some type of way. Okay, and I remember that boy, not that I talked to him or anything, but I mean, he wasn't giving complete creep vibes, but I can understand how he'd be like, he'd just go up to a girl and be like, oh, let me take you out. You know, like it wasn't just like, hi, you know, like that's real creep. He'd just be direct, like, let me take you out. But, you know, the girls would usually just be like, no. And managers could see that, and so that did not help his case. And then just a lot of different things, to the point where they were just like, you gotta go. So my point here in this story time, in this lecture, in this lesson, in my avoid this or you will get fired podcast part 1, is that don't run the clock. Don't run the time. If you are not there, you better have punched out. And if you're not doing what your job entails and what the company is paying you to do, you can't expect the company to pay you. So clock out. All right. And for minors, that's a huge one, because minors will get penalized if you don't clock out on time. All right. Adults, if you're actually like doing what you're supposed to do and you clock out late, it's okay. But minors, I don't care if you're doing what you're supposed to do. You need to clock out on time, because if not, that's a $10,000 fee that the company's going to have to pay, and they will not be happy with you. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If y'all have any like comments, suggestions, questions, whatever, make sure to comment down below, because I am here for you guys and I want to help you. And sometimes I just don't know like want necessarily to talk about. So y'all help me out. Y'all let me know like what content y'all want to see so that I can do my best in order to ensure that y'all do good in your job or whatever company you apply for, things like that. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye. Mwah. Love y'all.